Alright guys, let's talk about Cloud Commerce, one of the best performing penny stocks this week. Let's talk about what the company is, who the key members are, what their revenue growth strategies are, what their company growth strategies are, what their risk factors are in investing in them, and then also lastly, should you invest in this company? Hey guys, if you're new here, I'm Romel, and on this channel we talk about all things related to finance, investing, and building wealth. We discuss mindsets, strategies, techniques, and resources to help you in your journey to build wealth. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. We're a new and growing channel, and anything you can do to support us is greatly appreciated. Why now? Why are we talking about this company now? If you look at any of the news relating to stock, you'll see there's a lot of bullish people that are looking at this stock. And that's because over the 1 month, you'll see that they actually rose by a lot. They went from less than a penny to now trading at 17 cents. Also, they had a recent news article that was released on January 8th saying that they're launching their new artificial intelligence advertising venture. All right, so let's go into who the company is. Well, there's two people you should know about. The first one is Andrew Van Noy. He's the CEO and chairman of the company. So he's the head of the company. The second person you should know about is Gregory Bowden. He's the CFO. Chances are, if you Google Cloud Commerce, you'll find both of these people. On January 11th, they were actually issued shares of the company. Both Andrew and Gregory were issued 50 million shares of the company. However, you should know that there's a third person that was also issued shares in the company, and that is Kevin Myers. If you look at his profile, it actually says he's just a member on the board of the directors. But what's interesting is that he was actually issued 100 million shares, which means that he actually has the same amount of shares as the president or the CEO and the CFO combined. So although he's not mentioned in any articles, he actually has a lot of shares. And if you look at his LinkedIn profile, his about says that he has a distinguished track record for launching major consumer and technology brands, which has earned him a reputation as a visionary marketing chief and technology innovator. So I wonder if some of his expertise is going to be implemented into the company. I couldn't find too much about him. If you guys know a little bit more about Kevin Myers, please feel free to share. But in my research, I couldn't find too much. All right, so now, is it a good thing to issue shares to your key team members? What I've found is that by issuing shares, you're basically tying the performance of the company to the amount of money you're going to be making. Obviously, if the company is doing well, then the share price is going to go up. So if you do have a lot of shares in the company, then you'll want to make sure, or you'll want to try to ensure the most amount of success as possible. So this may be one reason why they were issued shares. Maybe these were key people, and maybe they were essential to running their business. This is a way to keep them incentivized to keep pursuing success. All right, Cloud Commerce, what do they do? Well, if you look at their website, it says here, Cloud Commerce, we take a collaborative approach to everything we do, employing specialized strengths of our teams to define markets, refining messaging, and deliver that information with accuracy. So they fuse data with creative content to ignite an emotion in our audiences to take desired action. Okay, I know that was really confusing, but again, I'm going to try to simplify that further. If you go look around in their website some more, you'll see that they have something called Swarm, which is a predictive engine platform. Swarm is one of their key components that everyone is talking about. And I think it's actually pretty interesting. All right, so Swarm, what does it really do? Well, Swarm is an audience intelligence solution. It tries to solve the problem that marketers have basically been broadcasting general messages to an entire audience, and they don't quantify motivations and feelings, which Cloud Commerce believes to be a better prediction of behavior. So they say that, in the past, standard objective criteria, which was income, geography, education, or purchase history, was used. They try to use behavioral science, AI, data science, and market research to better create audience groups. So that's basically a high-level summary. Let's talk about what the components of Swarm are. They can be broken down into 4 components. The first one is Buzz. Buzz is basically behavior-based market research. This was taken off of one of their SEC filings. So it says, Buzz basically deduces attitudes, emotions, and opinions from various internal and external data sources, such as customer data, social media activity, or micro and macro trends. So this is a way for them to get market research based on behavior, not based on, like they mentioned before, the general attributes, income, location, age, gender. The second part is the swarm, and that's intelligent audience building. So this says it uses proprietary clustering and behavioral analysis techniques to better create audiences, find the right people to talk to, and identify the type of message needed to motivate them. So this is another interesting idea. This is trying to use behavior to identify certain people, and once you have those people or those groups, you basically then, based on their behavior and motivation, you create a tailored message to get them to do some action, such as buy a product. This one I thought was also cool. So the third thing they have on their list is called Hive, and that's redefined geographic targeting. This is creating a new audience group or hive based on new attributes such as common language, shared experiences, narratives, and concentrated demography and biology, both ethnicity and age. So this is cool. I can kind of see this as, I live in New York. There's so many different neighborhoods in New York. I could see this as making subgroups or sub hives based on like the neighborhood you live in. For example, if you go, I don't know, like 20 blocks to the left, we'll be in a Greek town. If you go 20 blocks to the right, we'll be more in a Latino area. So this is kind of cool that it has redefined geographic targeting. Also, another thing I could think about is shared experiences. So let's say you have a town that just, experienced some sort of natural disaster. Maybe that's a type of hive that they create. This are a group of people that was affected in this way, so let's target them separately, or let's target them in a different way. That's what I kind of see in my head. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have the same idea? And then honey, like it sounds, is everything sweet. So it's user-friendly visualizations and reporting tools to explain all the data that has been gathered. So that's basically the 4 things that make up Swarm. I hope that was a little bit easier to understand rather than, the high-level jargon that's been used. All right, but apart from that, we got to keep in mind that Cloud Commerce does offer other services. If you look into the company history, the company used to be called Warp9. They acquired some companies along the way and eventually changed the name to Cloud Commerce to better align their message with what they do. So some of the other things that they do are offer end-to-end marketing solutions, and that's in the form of data analytics, digital marketing, branding and creative services, and development and managed infrastructure support. And those are basically done by some of the companies they acquired, which you can see on the slide. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think you can probably find much more in-depth information about what those types of services are. All right, now let's talk about cloud potential. What is the company doing to grow, and how is the revenue? What are some of the benefits that they offer? Well, the current business model is that they charge a fee to design, build, or execute digital marketing campaigns. So what is not that desirable is that they're basically charging clients based on time and materials. So basically, you're charging for your time. What I think is interesting is that if you actually look at their potential business model, they want to develop Swarm as a self-service platform and adopt a recurring subscription revenue model. That I think is much more interesting because you're not really tied to time and material. Rather, it's more of a hands-off approach where you basically just paying for a service. So it's, software as a solution. I think that's more interesting. It's much more scalable because now you can have more people use your product and you're not tied to a specific person. If you look at here, their growth strategy includes automating the Swarm solution. And the other thing is trying to partner up with someone that can help speed up the automation and delivery of the Swarm platform. So I think a key to the company's future growth is how fast and how successfully they can automate and deploy Swarm. The subscription revenue model, I think, is very intriguing because, like I said, it's much more scalable than time and material. All right, now should you invest? Now that you know what the company does, now that you know who the company is run by, does it make sense to put your money into cloud commerce? Well, to start, I looked at some of the news articles and I tried to tie in their stock price at the time or around the time of the article release because I wanted to see if there was any correlation between stock price and news. The first article I have listed here shows that on June 16th, they published an article talking about their full year guidance. And they're saying that their expected revenue for 2020 is going to exceed 14 million. Well, if you actually look at the stock chart, this is at a macro scale. Their price was just around 1 cent. So it wasn't exploding because of this news. But let's talk about some more news that happened. Okay, then on June 25th, they talk about how they got a new sale or a new company to work with. They talk about how Desert Mountain selects Cloud Commerce to drive club membership and home sales. Again, if you reference it with the chart and how the stock performed on that day, at this level, it didn't look like there was much change. And then on November 12th, we see how Cloud Commerce's Swarm solution is delivering measurable results for a charter school. If you look at the article, there's a lot of good indicators on there, a lot of measurable results, like the title says. But if we look at the stock chart, it didn't move the needle that much, at least not compared to how the stock is currently performing. All right, and then on January 8th, there was an article that came out talking about how Cloud Commerce is launching the artificial intelligence advertising venture. And at this time, the stock actually shot up basically 500%. It went from 1 cent to 5 cents. Yeah, it went from 1 cent to 5 cents. So this actually is one of those articles or one of those places in time where there is some news that's tied to stock increase. I guess one of the things that's interesting about the article is that they are looking to cut the cost of advertising by around 50%. So that's a huge cost in money that's being spent on advertising. All right, now let's talk about some of the risks of investing in this stock. If you look at the filing I have here of the 10K back in April 16th, 2020, this was the most recent one I found. You'll see that there are risks. Starting from the top, it says they have a history of losses. They operate with significant levels of debt. They're currently operating at a loss, and they're dependent on key personnel for their operations. Those are definitely not good signs. Obviously, every company has their risk, but further on in the video, we'll talk about the balance sheet and why you may want to reconsider your investment in this company. Also, one of the things to note is that they say they are dependent on key personnel for their operations. One of the reasons why they actually issued shares to those three people, Andrew, Gregory, and Kevin. Maybe those are some of the key individuals that are essential to their operations. If you remember, issuing shares is a way to incentivize people to, want to do good for the company. All right, now, like I said, let's take a look at their balance sheet. Unfortunately, the numbers are not looking good. If you look at the numbers from December 31st, 2019 to September 30th, 2020, you'll see that the assets have gone down from 2.7 million to 1.5 million, and the liabilities have also went down, but not by that much. It went from 7.6 million to 6.1 million. Those are not good signs. Generally, I like to invest in companies that have more assets than liabilities, or at least a closer divide. This is a pretty high margin that they're differing. So we'll have to see. There's a couple things that you have to take away from this. One is that this is only going until September and not December. So this isn't actually a full year's performance. So we'll have to see when they actually issue the report. And the other thing is that this is unaudited. So we'll have to see if it's actually more or less than what they're actually reporting. But generally speaking, I don't like to go into companies that have that much more liabilities than assets. One of the penny stocks that I like that I mentioned in my other video was Galaxy Next Generation. They actually had much more assets than liabilities. So if you're looking for a penny stock, take a look at my other video and see if that's a better fit for you. All right, so should you invest? Well, ultimately, what it comes down to is your investing preference. A lot of people jumped in on the hype. You'll see this last chart, the stock shot up from basically 1 cent all the way up to 17 cents. So that's like a 1,700% return. If you were one of the early investors and you got to sell at that higher price point, then good for you. You got in and you got out at the right time. But in terms of fundamentals, in terms of their balance sheet, in terms of the risks, this isn't for everyone. And I want to kind of preface that with just saying that penny stocks in general are risky. They're volatile, and you shouldn't put money that you aren't able to lose. So if you can't afford to lose your money, don't put it into penny stocks. All right, guys, I know this was a fairly long video, but again, I didn't see information out there like I presented. So this is kind of why I made this video. I actually wanted to release this video a few days prior, but I had to take some time to do some deeper research into the company and into what they do. So hopefully you guys like this. Let me know what your thoughts. Are you going to be investing in Cloud Commerce? I'm on stock twits, and there's a lot of bullish people on there. Obviously, the stock price is going up and up. Actually, at the time of this video, it actually went back down to 12 cents. But yeah, it's doing good so far. I just can't see where this optimism is coming from. There was a recent release of the article on January 8th that says they're going to be pursuing a new AI venture. Yes, that shot up the stock a lot by 5 times, and actually even more if you're counting when it went all the way up to 17 cents. But financials are kind of wary. For me personally, I do want to see how they are performing over the years. So I think they're set to set out a new either financial or quarterly report coming soon. So I'll have to actually see how they're doing. They said they're generating revenue, but right now it's very hard to tell. If you look at, and I don't remember, if you look at their sales have went down. Again, assets and liabilities are a big thing. So let's see. I showed you the risk factors. I showed you the potential growth. So it's ultimately up to you to make your investment decision. I'm not a financial advisor at all. I'm just a guy on YouTube giving you my take on the company and sharing some of my research. Again, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. We're a new channel, and any support you can show us is greatly appreciated. If you like the content we produced and you got some value out of it, please smash the like button to let the YouTube algorithm know. Also, if you know someone that's either bearish or bullish, or just in general looking into cloud commerce, feel free to send them this video if you think that they'll learn something out of it. All right, guys, if you want to connect with me on other social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, I'll leave links in the description down below. Thanks for watching, guys. I try to give you the best and most in-depth content that I can give. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.